Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you today for joining me on another video. And today's video is going to be the tech news and roundup for this week. So let's start off with some news with Android. Android just announced their new Android Go platform, and the Android Go platform is a lightweight version of Android Oreo 8.0. Its primary focus is to run on devices with 1 gig of RAM or less. The key benefit of the software is that it's estimated to take only about half the internal storage space of what Android 7.0 Nougat took. The software is optimized with its own set of apps that will be identified by the Go name at the end. So as far as we know right now, the list of apps that will be confirmed to carry this Go name are going to be YouTube Go, Gmail Go, Google Maps Go, as well as Google Assistant Go. This Android platform is meant for devices with very low specs, such as 1 GB of RAM or less, weaker processors, or just smaller storage sizes. So base level Android phones, especially the ones that are sold in the South Asian markets or just general Asian markets where the crowd is not still accustomed to paying for flagship devices, this software is going to do very well as it will optimize Android to run just the essentials. This platform is already available to OEMs, and you can be pretty fairly certain that they will start putting out phones with this Android Go software within maybe a couple of months, most likely in the next year, definitely within the first quarter. Moving on, we have some more news from Google. They have finally released the 8.0 Android version of Android Wear. Now, Google has failed to focus on their wearable software for a while now, and many people in the industry began to assume that the lack of development in software and the lack of availability of new Android Wear devices from OEMs meant that Android Wear was slowly dying and will not really be a main focus for Google. However, Google has come out with this 8.0 update for their Wear lineup, so it's going to be interesting to see how manufacturers and OEMs react to this. Currently, Apple Watch from Apple has the largest market share of these wearable smartwatches, so it'll be interesting to see if Google is going to try to focus on pushing out some more Android Wear devices, or they're just going to, try to do the bare minimum and see what happens. So some more Google news here, and here we have some news from Google and Amazon. So Amazon and Google have had this little feud going on for a long time, where Amazon refuses to sell any Google products such as the Google Chromecast or Google Home on their website because they have their own competitors such as the Fire Stick, Fire TV, and the Amazon Echo. So what's going on now is that Amazon, for some reason, also decided to remove all of Google's Nest products from their website. So Google has retaliated by removing the YouTube app from the Amazon Fire Stick, Fire TV, and all the Amazon platforms. Now, Google is saying that they don't want to do this, but because of the pressure that Amazon is putting on them, they have no other choice. So it's going to be interesting to see how Amazon deals with this. Obviously, this is the only person really losing out here is the consumers, because they no longer have access to apps such as YouTube on the Amazon platform. And a lot of people have adopted the Amazon platform because of the price point and just generally how accessible and easy it is to use. The YouTube app on the Fire Stick is reporting to users that it will stop working on the 1st of January 2018. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not Google and Amazon can reach a little bit of an agreement before then, or they could delay this. We'll see what happens, and I'll keep you guys updated on what goes on with this. So moving on, we have some more news from Amazon. Amazon has finally released their Apple TV app, which has been delayed numerous times after being officially revealed at WWDC in June of this year. Amazon finally integrated it with the Apple TV app, Apple TV, as a part of the new tvOS update. The catch here, however, is that the Amazon Prime Video app will only be supported on 3rd gen and newer devices. The older Apple TVs will not be able to download the Amazon app onto their devices, so they'll have to upgrade their Apple TVs, or they just can't use the Amazon app. Speaking of Amazon and Apple, Amazon has finally released their update for the iOS app to support the iPhone X. The iPhone X was unsupported up to this point. However, with the rollout of their Apple TV app, Amazon pushed this update to the App Store as well. It looks like they were pretty much sitting on this update and waiting for the Apple TV app to roll out so that they could push out this update together. Moving on, we have some news from Qualcomm. So Qualcomm has had their Snapdragon Summit over in Hawaii, and the main news out of this summit is that they have announced their Snapdragon 845 processor which is their next-gen new processor for the flagships of next year. The Snapdragon 845 was officially unveiled and showcased there, and it's based on a 10nm construction with an estimated 25% jump in performance over the Snapdragon 835. The 845 right now is going to focus on AI, machine learning, and handling multimedia with a special focus on image processing as well. The 845 will also support 4K 60 FPS, and the 845 also has a key focus on security and has a dedicated chip to focus on the security aspect. There's also a little bit of a new focus with the 845, and the 845 will now be powering full Windows machines, Windows laptops, with just the 845 chip. So the 845 is so powerful, Qualcomm wanted to showcase it by showing that it could run full Windows on laptops from HP, Asus, etc. So these new laptops should be coming up in the next year, and it'll be interesting to see how they work. They're touted as being very highly efficient and very long-lasting batteries because of the very low power consumption from the 845, and since it is a mobile processor, there's going to be a fanless design, which will further make these computers even thinner, lighter, and quieter. Some news from OnePlus. So OnePlus has finally announced 2 special edition versions of their brand new phone, the OnePlus 5T. The first of these 2 special editions is a lava red OnePlus 5T that is exclusive only to the Chinese market. So this does look fairly similar to the product red iPhone 7 and 7 Plus that Apple released last year. And just let me know what you guys think. Do they look really similar? Because to me they look fairly similar. And the second special edition phone that OnePlus has come out with is the OnePlus 5T Star Wars edition. So with the new Star Wars movie coming out next week, OnePlus has decided to team up with Star Wars and reveal a brand new Star Wars edition phone. So this phone is going to have a white back with the Star Wars logo at the bottom of the phone, and it's going to have a special red notification key. The notification slider is now going to be red, and the other buttons, the power and volume buttons, are going to be black. So it gives it a very interesting look with that white body and the black and red buttons. Very cool looking phone, and it definitely looks a lot more unique, and it's otherwise a lot more interesting than the boring midnight black version that's been out for a while. The Star Wars edition phone is slated to be sold in India, Finland, Denmark, and Sweden, unlike the lava red, which is only sold in the Chinese market. Both of these special edition phones are priced the same as the normal version of the OnePlus 5T, so it's basically just, another color option for people who want to go for it. There's no premium pricing on these special edition phones. Moving on, we have some news from Apple. Apple has finally rolled out the iOS 11.2 update to all iOS devices, enabling faster wireless charging on phones that support it, some UI tweaks, and changes and additions to some emojis as well. However, the main talking point of iOS 11.2 is Apple Pay Cash. Apple Pay Cash was showcased at previous Apple events this year, and it didn't really make it onto iOS until now, despite being showcased as a feature that will be. Apple Pay Cash allows you to send money to friends and family through Apple Pay and iMessage. It's very similar to what the WeChat Pay function offers you, and it will be interesting to see how people will use this service or how they won't. I generally don't think it'll be a useful feature for everyone, and myself included, I really don't think I'll be using this feature as much. However, there is definitely a market out there for these mobile wallets and payment solutions. So, some more Apple news, and Apple is reportedly looking into buying Shazam. Shazam is a very popular music app that allows users to identify music by letting the app listen to the song while it's playing in the background. And Apple already has Shazam integration into Siri, where it can identify songs using Shazam when you ask Siri to identify something. It would make sense for Apple to buy out Shazam from my point of view, because they already use it and have it integrated into their software, so it would be a good addition to their portfolio. It's also reported that the buyout may occur at a reported $400 million. However, take this with a grain of salt, because there's been no confirmed or even verified sources that have come up with this information. If Apple were to acquire Shazam, it would be their second largest music-related acquisition, following the acquisition of Beats in 2014 in recent times. So rounding off the news, we finally have some news from Apple HQ. Jony Ive, the mastermind behind the Apple design for close to 2 decades, is finally back in total control of the design team. He previously was the head of the design teams. However, he got a promotion in 2015 that basically removed him from the day-to-day operations and handed over control to Alan Dye and Richard Howarth, who reported directly to Tim Cook and not Jony Ive. So now, after some restructuring, Jony Ive is back in control of these two, of the entire design team, and Alan Dye and Richard Howarth now directly report to Jony Ive instead of Tim Cook. So it's going to be interesting to see what design changes and integrations that Jony Ive will do. Obviously, iOS has had some issues with integration of iOS, and the design hasn't been the best, in my opinion, for a little bit now. It makes sense. It aligns with the time that Jony Ive has kind of been out of the game and focusing on other things. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the upcoming years, and hopefully Jony Ive will take a little bit more of a hands-on approach and fix all the issues that are going on with iOS. That's a wrap for this video, guys. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video. A lot more coming like this in the future, and be sure to check me out on social media as well. I update all the behind-the-scenes stuff as well as random day-to-day things that happen on social media. All the links are down in the description below. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.